Today, we're going to explore some of the latest image to animation generation systems available, including Pika Labs 1.0, Runway ML, Motion Brush, and Leonardo's Motion. So first things first, I'm working on a short story. I need to put a little bit of animation on some of these slides. So let's take a look at them. I've got this fire-breathing dragon with his queen, and I would like to put some animation on this fire in the 3 different systems to see which one comes out the most usable. Second one here is going to be this time-traveling enchantress, and you can see the time portal behind her. I would like to put animation on that so that it swirls around her and gives the illusion of movement as though she were stepping out of the portal. The third one here is her dancing in the moonlight. So I want to put some animation on the flowy part of her dress here and here, maybe a little bit of animation in her hair. So we're going to try to accomplish all of that movement on the 3 different images in the 3 different systems together. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, the first one we're going to try is Pika.art. Come in here and I'm going to head over to my library, and you can see I've already imported the picture up there and tried this earlier, but I'm going to come down here and do image or video, and I actually already have that image saved. So I'm just going to grab the fire-breathing dragon and his queen here and pull it over, and you can see that it drops that file right in there. And then it says describe the story. So up here is where I'm going to put what I want the animation to be. So we've got the fire coming from the dragon's mouth should show movement. This is the generate button right here. You can also come down and set your parameters if you would like. You can put a negative prompt in. You can put in a seed number from the image, and you can decide how much consistency you want between the text prompt and the movement that's actually put on it. I'm just going to leave it with all the regular settings so we can check this out together. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the generate, and you'll see that it will say your image will start generating soon. Keep in mind this system is currently free to use. I'm sure that as it progresses and gets better, there will be a fee charged to use this system. It is remarkable how well it is doing for only being less than a year on the market. If you don't have access to Pika, when you get to the website, there is a button where you can join the waitlist to get in on the testing that they're doing. It took me about 3 weeks to get in after I signed up for the waitlist, and I was just given access actually on Christmas Day. So I've only been playing with this for a couple of weeks now, but I wanted to bring it to you guys because I do think it's going to be an invaluable tool in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and let that video generate, and then we will come back and check it out together. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and head over and see what kind of animation we can put on it in Leonardo AI. Okay, so here we go. We're going to launch the app for Leonardo AI. And you can see the new motion has been added here. So if you click on that, it'll tell you a little bit about what image to motion is and how to use it. The way to use it, though, is to come over to the image generation, and you take an image that you've already created. So here we go. We've got that image that we're using in Pika, the exact same image. And you can see when we scroll over it, we've got the alchemy refiner that we have previously discussed on the video, which I will link here so that you can learn how to use that. And then you've got generate motion video under this other new tab here. It looks like some film reel maybe. So all you have to do is click that. Motion strength, you can decide 5 to 7. I am going to leave it at 5 just so that we can see these settings. And then you can choose your visibility, whether you want other users to see it or if this is private. It does cost quite a bit of tokens to do each generation. For not really knowing what you're going to get, you can't actually put on the instruction for the movement just yet, but this is brand new. So just got this over the holiday weekend as well. So I'm going to come over here and hit generate. It's going to cost me 25 tokens. And you can see that it doesn't let me choose the size on that generation either. Hopefully that will change soon. Or if you've discovered a way to change that size, let me know in the comments. And we're going to let that generate and hop into Runway and see what we can get done on this image over there. And we're going to do start with image. Same deal. I'm going to take that exact same photo, drag it over into my assets. First things first in here, I'm going to say, I'm going to do the image plus description here and do animate the fire coming from the dragon's mouth. And I'm going to hit generate 4 seconds. And we're going to let that generate. And then we'll come back and we'll take a look at all 3 of these different videos. Okay, so all 3 systems are done with that generation now. So let's hop in and take a look. We've got our first image in Pika. I'm going to go ahead and make that full screen. And you can see, okay, so it almost like moved the dragon's jaw too much. That looks a little weird. Distorts her face, makes her blink, and I didn't want to put movement on her. I just wanted movement on the fire coming from the dragon. So not a huge fan of that, but one of the cool things about Pika, especially since it is still free to the user, is that you can add 4 seconds and you can also upscale this video. So while we're taking a look at the other ones, we'll go ahead and we will upscale it and see if it comes out any better. And then let's hop in and take a look at what happened in Leonardo with that image. So here's Leonardo, and we can see, okay, it caused a lot of distortion in her face. Blurred her eyes, sort of brought them together, made it very distorted, and flattened the dragon's teeth, which is weird. It's almost like the fire is melting his teeth. So I'm not really huge on that one either, unfortunately. But let's check out Runway and see if we got a better result there. So here's the Runway video. Okay, I like that there's not a lot of distortion in the dragon's mouth. There is movement on the fire. It does almost seem like it is like reflecting over here in her arm, the way that it's moving it. And there is a little bit of distortion being added on her face, but I love how the glow of it is coming back and creating almost like an ember reflection on her face. I think that's really cool. So if I were going to use one of those 3 images, I would definitely choose the Runway image. What about you? Which one would you choose for this particular slide? 1, 2, or 3? Let me know in the comments. Let's head back over and see if Pika has upscaled that image now. Here we go. This is the upscaled video of it. So let's go ahead and make that a bigger screen so we can take a look. Okay, so that's a little bit better on the distortion for her face. Still distorts her eyes a lot at the end. Definitely still has the chatter of the dragon's jaw. I'm just not a huge fan of that, but can we just take a minute and really take in what this technology is doing? This is a still image that I've now taken in and put animation on that can be used for endless amounts of content. What are you most excited about using animation for in your images? Let me know that in the comments. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over and put some animation on our second image and see what we can get from these 3 systems here. Okay, so on this second image, we're gonna go a little bit more in depth on some of the settings that you can alter and see if we can put our own magic on the spin of animation that we're trying to get from this portal image. So coming back into Pika, I have uploaded that second image that we're going to use here, the enchantress stepping out of the portal, and then I'm just putting in the prompt, time traveling enchantress steps out of time travel portal. We'll see what we get from this first one, and then we'll try, if we're not getting the circular motion of the portal the way we want it, to put in a different prompt. So real quick, the video options down here is where you can change your frames per second. Then you also have your camera control, where you can control which way the camera is going, whether it's panning left or right, tilting up or down, rotating, zooming, those sort of things. You can also set the strength of your motion. So you can see right now it's set on 0 to 4. So I'm just going to set it on 2 to see what happens there. And then the parameters, again, that's where you could put in a negative prompt, the seed number for an image, and you can also set your consistency for the text. So let's go ahead and generate this real quick. While we've got that going, we'll jump over into Leonardo and see what kind of motion we can get on the image over here. So here we go. We've got that exact image here. I'm noticing that her hands are a little distorted in this one in Leonardo. So I am going to see if I can go ahead and clean that image up with the Alchemy Refiner. So I'm going to come down here where it says Alchemy Upscaler, and I'm going to click that. I want the image to remain pretty close to what it is now, so I'm going to choose medium there, and then you can see smooth mode can enhance image coherence and improve hands and faces, but may impact the finer details. So I do want to fix her hand, so let's go ahead and turn that on, and I'm going to go ahead and upscale it. We can see that that's working, so we're going to let that upscale first, and then we'll put the animation motion on it. Pika is still processing. It's about halfway done now. Okay, let's see here. It didn't really clean her hands up very much, but it did definitely smooth out her skin. And it cleared up the ball a little bit and gave a little bit more of a contrast back here in the circle. So there's the refined version, there's the original. So you can see just the brightness and clearness of her skin improving. Her cheeks are a little rosier, so I think I like this one better. I can cut this hand out or refine it later in the process if I want to upscale it later. So let's just go ahead and put the motion on it and see what happens. So I'm going to do generate motion video here. Motion strength, instead of 5, I'm actually going to pump this one up to 7 this time, and I'm still going to leave it on private, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. Let's see. Okay, Pika is now done with that image, so let's take a look at what it was able to create for us. Okay, so it almost looks as though it's made her have some motion on the lips, as though she's talking, telling a story, which is interesting. Not as much distortion as I would expect for the lip movement. The portal behind her seems to be sort of just almost breathing in and out, as opposed to going in the circular motion I was hoping for with that. But all in all, that is not a terrible video. That could definitely be used for something in one of my storybooks. Again, with Pika, I could add 4 more seconds, or I could upscale this video. For right now, though, we're going to skip that, and we are going to try to change this here and see if it will just allow us to move the orange circle in the background. So we're going to give this a shot and just see if it makes a difference in Pika. I'm going to prompt it this time with the orange circle in the background should rotate in a circular motion behind the enchantress, and let's see what happens here. So we'll let that keep generating, and we'll hop back over into Leonardo and see what it did. Oh my goodness. Okay. So it moved her arms in and caused them to disappear. Very interesting. It does have movement on the orange circle, but not near what I was hoping for. That is very strange. I think that might be the weirdest animation I've actually gotten it to produce to this point. So again, you can see that for 25 tokens in the Leonardo system, I don't know that that would ever be my preferred system in the state that the 3 different systems I'm using right now are in. But for images, I highly recommend using Leonardo AI to refine and upscale your images. It does a terrific job at that. With this motion system being so brand new, I have no doubt that in maybe 3 months, we will see such a huge improvement that it is very likely Leonardo will be the system I choose to use in the future. But for right now, I'm most happy with the way Runway is producing images. So let's hop on over into Runway and see what we can do with this second image over there with adjusting some settings. Real quick though, Pika is done before we hop into Runway, so let's take a look at this second image here and see if we got the orange to swirl more. Nope, so it gave her a lot of distortion in the face, almost looks like she was trying to roll her eyes at the prompt, and the orange circle just doesn't have much movement to it. So definitely the first prompt that we use, the time traveling enchantress steps out of the time portal, was definitely a better way to go with the animation on this particular one. So let's go ahead, since I do like this one the best out of the 2 we just did, and just to show you, I'm going to go ahead and add 4 seconds, and you can see that it actually tells us down here that it is about to add the 4 seconds. So we just hit generate and it will start that video. While those videos are generating, because I did do 1 upscale and 1 add 4 seconds, we'll hop over into Runway and see what we can do over there with the image. Okay, so we're back at Runway here. We're going to do start with image again. And I do have that image that I want to go ahead and just drag on over, the time portal queen. So I'm going to do this image 2 different ways in Runway. The first way I'm going to do is the image and description up here. So let's go ahead and go in and say So I'm going to say the orange circle behind the enchantress should appear as a moving portal she just stepped out of. And I'm going to go ahead and do generate 4 seconds for that video. And then the second way I'm going to attempt to get this video to come out the way that I want it to from this image is to use the Runway motion brush feature. So with this feature, I can actually paint the areas that I want to see the movement and give it some instruction on how to properly move. So what I'm going to do is come up here to the motion brush, and I want it to be fairly small. And you can see it says control a specific area with motion brush, tap anywhere to begin. So I'm going to go ahead and tap. I've got my brush size here where my mouse is. So I would like to move just parts of this orange here. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of areas of the orange and see how this comes out. I want the movement to appear to be going in a circular motion. So I'm going to give it about 2 horizontal, 1.8 horizontal and 1.8 vertical. You'll see that since our last video, this ambient noise has been added as well that you can choose from, but I'm going to leave both the proximity and the ambient noise at 0 for now on this photo. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then it will allow me to generate that motion brush image here. And then our first video is done. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. Okay, so you can see versus the Pika Labs and the Leonardo, the distortion in her face and body is much less on here. It does appear as though she's bringing her arms in, so there must be something about this image or the way that I'm prompting it that is causing it to think that I want the movement on her actual body instead of focusing on the circle behind her. But this does have a good motion to the orange behind her that I was looking for. So 100% this is a usable image for me. I'll take it and clear up her hands and get rid of some of the extra distortion before I have an end product. But this is a great starting point for what I need this image to accomplish. Now we're just waiting to see what the motion brush animation puts on, and you can see we're at 69% there. So just another minute here and it will be ready. And while we wait on that, we can hop over and take a look at the Pika where we increase the time. So you can see now that we have 7 seconds worth of video on this one. Let's go ahead and check it out here. Okay, so she's still talking and moving, which if I wanted to put a voice animation on her, that would be perfect to have her lips moving like that. And the orange circle does kind of come together as like a full circle behind her, which I do think is kind of cool. So that definitely is a neat image there. And then we have the upscaled version. So of course, here's our original version that we took a look at. And then here is our upscaled version. Still talking, her look at the camera is much more direct. She looks like she might be speaking directly to you on the other side of the camera. A lot less distortion than the first image, but still you can see where her hair is sort of meshing together and her features are kind of a little bit blurry as it moves. All in all though, for a free system to make a 7-second animation on this video, I'm very impressed by Pika so far. And for it being only like a month into people actually using it, this is going to be so amazing, guys. So make sure you stay tuned to this channel because we're going to be showing you all the updates to these systems as they come out and try to keep you ahead of the game as a creator. Okay, so let's hop back in and see now if our Runway motion brush is ready, and it is. So let's take a look here at the one we put the motion on. Okay, so I was a little concerned about that with the horizontal movement, that it would bleed into her in Runway. I've noticed that that seems to be something that happens when you have something you're trying to animate behind a focal point. So you can just kind of see where the orange just kind of floods her overall look. But it is definitely achieving the goal of not moving her. It's not bringing her arms in or pulling anything out. It's not moving her lips. It's not giving any animation to her actual body, but it is animating the circle behind it. So definitely is the way to go in Runway on this second image too. The first one is a completely usable image, of course, once I fix her hand. And the second one is a neat example of how you can keep her still and still move something behind her. I'm going to work on tweaking that image so that I can get it out the correct way that I need it to, but I just wanted to show you guys a quick example of how it could be done. So now let's jump into our third image and see what we can get. Ready to make some more magic? Let's go. Let's jump right into Pika and we will tackle this third image that I need done. So we're going to import the picture of the time-traveling queen that's dancing in the moonlight. And I'm just going to prompt it. This time-traveling queen is dancing in the moonlight. Her dress and her hair are blowing in the soft wind that surrounds her. And I'm going to let Pika do its thing. Check the settings real quick. Make sure everything is where I need it to be. Yep, and we're good. Go ahead and generate. While that's generating in Pika, we'll hop over to Leonardo and we've got our dancing queen here. And we're going to go ahead and do the generate motion video on this one. Motion strength, we'll keep it at a 7. That did pretty well last time. We'll keep it private. We'll go ahead and generate for the 25 tokens. And finally, we'll hop into Runway. We'll start with an image, and I've already got it uploaded into my assets. So I'll just come in and select the Dancing in the Moonlight image. And you can see here that we can put in the description. So we'll go ahead and just pop that description right in there that we used in the other two systems. And we'll go ahead and do generate 4 seconds. I'm also going to go ahead and do a motion brush generation in Runway on this particular image. I'm also going to go ahead and do a motion brush here. So we'll hop in and make the cursor a medium size. And I want to put the motion mostly on this part of her dress. I'm going to be careful to avoid putting it anywhere near her hand so that there's no warping or pulling away of her fingers away from the hand. And I'm going to do the same thing here with the red side. I'm just going to brush over it. Doesn't have to be exact by any means. We're adding motion, so don't worry about it if you're not getting it completely perfect. And then I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller, and I'm actually going to just highlight some of the hair that she has here and see how that comes out. We're going to do horizontal. I'm going to go ahead and come up to 3.5. And vertical, I'm just going to put a little bit of vertical motion on it. So we'll go 0.5. And I'm going to go ahead and save this and let that generate. Let's head back over to Pika and see if our video is done over there yet. Okay, so it has finished. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so that did a nice job. Looks like there might be some distortion in her face, almost as if it tried to open one eye and just kind of glitched out there. But let's see if we upscale that, if it maybe causes that distortion to go away. So I'll go ahead and upscale it. And then we'll check the Leonardo. Okay, so once again in the Leonardo, you can see a lot of movement in the arms, almost like she's holding onto the dress and it's just blurred and distorted. That's not a usable image or animation in my opinion. So once again, I sort of feel like that was a waste of 25 tokens, but the system is constantly improving. So like I said, be sure you check back in a couple of months to see how far the Leonardo motion has come. And then let's check out Runway here. We've got our first one has generated. Okay, so that's the text animation, and you can see again, really messed up her hands in that. Hopefully we got a better video with the motion brush. Let's take a look there. Here's the motion brush where we added the areas we wanted animated. Okay, so it turned her whole head instead of just the hair, and for some reason gave her blonde hair instead of red hair. So that's very interesting. You can see that the skirt has some nice fluid movement to it, but maybe just a little too aggressive on that one. So I might give that one another go at it here. Okay, so I'm going to come in and redo the motion brush settings so that we can get a better image that's more usable. So I'm just going to pull in, obviously, the same photo, go back to motion brush. I'm going to change my motion brush size down a little bit and just cover some of her skirt. And then you can see I just used the eraser to make sure that I did not include any of her hand. I want to be sure not to have that part warp and pull away from her arm. So that's why I went ahead and erased that part, but I'm just going to continue filling in the skirt here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to get a good portion of the image that you want to move highlighted with the magic motion brush. And then I'm going to make it really fine and put a little bit of motion into her hair. And then I'm going to use a different setting than I did last time. On the horizontal, I'm going to do 0.7. Actually, I'm going to take it up to 1.1 on the horizontal, and I'm going to go with a 0.5 on the vertical. And then you can see the finished image here. It came out much better. This is definitely a usable image. Sometimes the image that I think is going to have the best movement on it turns out to be the one I like the least, which is exactly what seems to have happened with the 3 that we've used today. I definitely feel like the second image is my favorite for how much motion was put on. What do you think? Which image do you think came out the best? Thanks for spending some time today with me to compare these different AI art generation animation systems. As always, if you have anything you'd like us to cover related to AI tools or AI art generation, let us know in the comments. I'm Jessica with The Real AI Agents, and as always, keep looking towards the future.